Okay, so welcome back, everybody. This time, we're going to try a new trick. And this one is what we call synthetic division. Synthetic division is a type of polynomial division that applies to a special form. If we have a divisor that follows this pattern, x minus a number or x plus a number, then we can use the synthetic division. All right, and of course, the way it's going to work is this. Let's go through just a long division first to just see how this guy works out. If you recall, if I had x squared minus 5x plus 8, the way it should look when I do my long division is that I'd put my divisor of x minus 3 outside of my division bar. Underneath the bar, I would put my polynomial x squared minus 5x plus 8. And I would find what do I have to multiply by x to give me x squared. And of course, that's just going to be positive x. So x times x is x squared. That's what we wanted. And then we take x times negative 3. That would be minus 3x. And then we would be subtracting that from the very first term. Of course, that's going to give us 0 right here. But when we carry this out, negative 5x minus negative 3 is the same thing as negative 5x plus 3x. So that's negative 2x. We bring down the plus 8, and we say, well, what do we multiply by x to give us negative 2x? The answer, negative 2. That goes in our constants column. Negative 2 times x would be negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 3 would be plus 6. And then when we do the subtraction, we're going to get 8 minus 6, which is going to be 2. And that's our remainder. Right? And so, of course, we know that we should get, as our result, x minus 2 plus 2 over x minus 3. Now, there's a couple of things to notice right here, and I'm going to put this in a different color. Notice that what's happening is that we're always kind of ending up with an x squared everywhere we're in this column, an x everywhere we're in this column, and a 1s everywhere we're in this column. And the only thing that's changing right here is that we're using our coefficients, right? 1 minus 1 gives us 0. Negative 5 minus negative 3 gives us negative 2. Negative 2 minus negative 2 gives us 0. 8 minus 6 gives us 2, right? The only thing that we're really concentrating on here are these coefficients, right? And so if you think about the way this would work, the trick that we're going to use allows us just to concentrate on the coefficients. So if I were to do this same trick using what I call synthetic division, here's how it would look. First things first, I'm going to take my divisor of x minus 3 and I'm going to set it equal to 0. And when I do that, I add 3 to both sides of my equation. And I get x equals 3. So what's going to happen right here is I'm going to take my division bar, I'm going to change it, I'm going to make it upside down, a little bit larger. And this number 3, I'm going to put that outside of my division bar. Now, since the only thing I'm really interested in right here are my coefficients, and my coefficients right here are 1, negative 5, and positive 8, that's what's going to go up here. I'm going to put 1, negative 5, and positive 8. These are my coefficients from the dividend. Right, those go along my top row. Now, here's the trick. What we're going to do is this. We're going to take this very first number and we're going to bring it down below the fraction bar. Why? Well, our very first coefficient up above the line right here is 1. That's the coefficients for our quotient, right? So we're going to take that, and of course, we're going to multiply that number by 3. So 1 times 3 is 3. So I'm going to multiply right here. And then I'm going to add. We're just going to add directly down the column. I'm going to take negative 5 plus 3. That's going to give me negative 2. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take 3, this number, times negative 2. 3 times negative 2 gives me negative 6. And I'm going to add that down my constants column. So 8 added to negative 6 gives me positive 2. Now look at what just happened right here. These two numbers are the coefficients of my quotient. right? My quotient was x minus 2. Try that again. X minus 2 was my quotient, yes. And of course, right back here, my remainder was 2. How snazzy is that, right? So now I've got plus 2 over my divisor, which I remember was x minus 3. And I've got exactly the same result. So how does this work? Well, our rule basically goes like this. If we're going to take a polynomial, right, our dividend, and we're going to divide it by something of the form, let's say, x minus a. All right. When we set it up, we're going to set it up so that we have a, right, x minus a equals 0 at x equals a. We're going to have the coefficients of our dividend up along this top row. Okay. We bring down the first coefficient, whatever it is, and we multiply it to come up to this row, and then we add down. So we bring down the first coefficient, we multiply it by a, and then we add coming down. All right, so we're going to add down. And we're going to keep up this pattern all the way through until the very, very end. The very last number that we get is going to be our remainder. Okay? And what happens right here is that along this bottom row, and let me just unclutter this a little bit right here because this looks a little cluttery, right? What's really going to happen down here is that among all of our terms, our coefficients are going to be the coefficients of the quotient. All right, so when you're setting up your synthetic division, this is what it looks like. A few more examples in the next video.